Hello, welcome to this week's podcast episode. My name is Jackie Palfi, and what you will be hearing in this podcast episode is something I truly believe that you, as well as all other people in this world, needs to hear. What we're talking about is resilience, and we've all been through a super weird year. So we kind of all need a little push of resilience, if not a lot. What is the definition of resilience? The definition is to advancing despite adversity. And we've had a lot of adversity in our lives the last year. And so has Allison Lang, my special, amazing, beautiful human being, who is my guest on the podcast today. And she has not only the last year gone through some adversity, she has gone through that her whole life. From the moment she was born with something else that nobody else had. So she had had a long fight throughout her whole life, and still she stands here today strong, confident, and she has created a life around herself that she truly loves. We all could learn something from Allison Lang, and that is exactly why I've invited her onto this podcast interview today. I hope with the bottom of my heart that you enjoyed as much as I did, and please let me know what you thought. What was your biggest takeaway? You can find a post about this on my Instagram at Jackie Palfi or my Facebook at Jackie Palfi. Let me know your thoughts and just let's connect. I love connecting with you. And now let's get to it. See you on the other side. My name is Jackie Palfi, and this is the Cycle of Success podcast. I am certain that you can make life more than just a living. You can achieve more by doing less. My mission is to help you create abundance in all areas of life without you burning out. So what are you waiting for? All we have is right now. Hello, Allison. Welcome on. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. So for everyone, Allison and I, we actually met online and we had our first conversations like 2 weeks ago, and it just clicked. I could just feel that your message and what you've gone through in life and what you have to share, I just need to share that with my audience because it is so inspiring. And honestly, I don't even want to take away any of the introduction part. I will just turn it over to you and let you tell everyone who you are and why you're here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. You're like making me have chills about this interview. My name is Allison Lang. I'm 27 years old. I currently work in digital marketing. I'm a solo female traveler. But then another fun fact about me is I'm a left below knee amputee from birth. So I would say that I'm a very strong advocate for body inclusivity and really showcasing that those with disabilities can, in fact, do anything that anybody else can.
Definitely. And now you're talking about chills. I had them all over my body as well. First time we talked, because you told me everything that you have been doing. You've participate in different crazy sports teams and really done a lot of things, but where it really got my heart warming was, as you said, but it's not always been like that. So would you mind just taking us back your past, the lane, and some of the struggles that you've gone through until you've gotten here today? I would love to hear some of your thoughts about
For sure. I'll rewind to the beginning. So
right.
Like you said, I may seem confident now, but it hasn't always been that way. Growing up was really, really difficult. I'm actually the oldest of 4 kids. So when I was born, the doctor told my parents that there was something wrong with me. And I can't even imagine being parents to their first newborn baby and being told that something is wrong luckily my mom is a nurse, and she asked what the problem was, and the doctor said, well, she was born missing the lower half of her left leg. And then my mom's response to that was, well, how's her heart? How's her lungs? All her organs? And he said, they're all fine. So both of my parents at the same time were like, okay, there's no problem then. And I'm so lucky to have grown up with the parents that I did have, because I feel like this narrative could have been completely different. And they threw me into any sport imaginable growing up. I started swimming when most babies start going to classes with their moms. I started playing soccer at the age of 6, and I wanted to start skiing and snowboarding like all of my friends. But even before that, I really struggled. So I was born with my tibia, but not my fibia in the lower half of my leg. So I have my knee. So I don't really have a muscle
So just for everyone,
mass.
what exactly that means, because I have a lot of German and Danish listeners.
Yeah,
so just for the terms, what exactly does that mean?
So you're born with 2 bones in the lower half of your leg, and I was only born with one of them. So as I would grow taller, the bone would actually press against my skin and want to break through the skin. So it was very sensitive. I was like in pain. And then I actually had to go for surgery every 3 years to trim down that bone and protect the skin area. So anytime that happened, I would have to go get a new prosthetic leg made, because as soon as you change the shape of a body part, you have to create something new to fit it. So with that going on in my life, that happened until I was 11 years old. I would have to go to school on crutches or in a wheelchair and relearn how to walk every time I got a new leg made. So it was really hard being a kid that was visibly different or was struggling with all these medical treatments and surgeries. And I was severely bullied. I've gone to therapy for it now as an adult. I can't stress how important therapy is. I never knew that I needed it, but I would be pushed over at school on my crutches. Kids would threaten to steal my prosthetic leg away from me. I was called Barbie, peg leg. I was never chosen for sports teams because they thought that I wouldn't be good. But in fact, I'm very athletic. And honestly, I was bullied so badly in school. Sorry, I might get emotional talking about it. It still like hits the surface for me sometimes. But I was very, very severely bullied that my mom had to intervene and go to the school and tell the principal, like, if this doesn't stop, I'm going to have to go to the news, because they weren't defending me. I would go home crying after school and lock myself in my bedroom and ask my parents, like, why was I born this way? Why am I the only one struggling this way? Like, if there is a God or any higher power, why did he want to make me different? What did I do to deserve this? And I struggled with self-confidence. And that only led into my teenage years, which is even harder, especially as a female. You want to be as attractive as possible and fit in. And every girl in magazines and on TV didn't look like someone that I looked like. They had both their arms and both their legs. And it was just insane. It was probably the hardest point in my life, and that's because I was bullied when I was younger. I got a fresh start at a new school when I was in my teenage years, and from that point on, I hid my leg. And I would make up excuses as to why I was limping. I would say that I got kicked in soccer, or I fell snowboarding, or I fell down the stairs and twisted my ankle, but I never admitted that I had a fake leg. It was, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, Jackie, where like you can't admit something to yourself, so you won't admit it to others. And so I didn't show up every day as my truest self, which hurts me now looking back and being like, I wish I loved who I was at that point in time, because all of our differences make us unique. And one thing that I love to say now is your obstacle is your opportunity, because even going into high school and still not showing my leg and wanting to start dating boys, but not wanting to tell them. And when people would find out, I was heartbroken. It ate me up. Like, I couldn't think of anything else on a day-to-day basis. It was the only thing. Like, am I sitting properly? Can you tell that I have a fake leg if I sit this way? If I'm walking to the next class, is anyone looking at my feet? And rumors started circulating within my high school because one person from the school I went to before told all the guys on the football team. So obviously then I was like, great, high school's gonna suck. No one's gonna want to date me. No one's gonna love me for this. And I wish at that point I could tell my 15-year-old self, you don't need acceptance or love from anybody else. You need acceptance and love from yourself. And
that's so beautiful. I am really thank you so much for sharing that, Allison. Thank you.
No
And
problem.
I just want everyone out there listening, and I'm 100% sure that even though people weren't born without the lower left leg, that in your story, what you just told, that women after women after women, if not only also men, can find themselves, because bullying and just, feeling some parts of us being different is just so difficult, which is why I love that you're here. I love that you're doing this, because, if you can, everybody can find that self-confidence and find that strength to be the true authentic self. I loved what you said about, when you went to school and trying to hide your leg, that when you think back of it now, it kind of eats you up, because that is what it does when we are not our true self. It is soul eating. Maybe, people around us won't like us for some reason, but if we're not true to ourselves, it eats up our soul within, right?
Yeah.
So that was just so beautiful described. And what I would love for you to talk a little bit more about is that now you're here, self-confident, you have been a part of amazing sports teams, and you have another big news that you will probably share in a second, but you're doing great things in the world. What made the mindset shift? Like, what did you do? What was the inner work for you?
Yeah, it's honestly, the inner work is not easy. And that's the toughest question for me to answer, I think. But because it takes so much time, and I also fear that people give up on themselves too easily, because that switch doesn't happen overnight. It's a long process. And if I'm being completely honest with you, I didn't learn to love my body until my early 20s. Maybe 21, 22 years old. And that is painful to look back at, but it took work from high school till my early 20s. And I would say what helped me a lot was talking about it, not only with friends and family, but with trained professionals, and going to therapy, but also searching for what made me happy on the inside as well. And one thing that really helped me walk away from all my insecurities was daily affirmations. So an example of that is I had a massive mirror in my bedroom at my parents' house. So I bought some whiteboard markers and I started writing the things that I loved about myself, not only about my appearance, but I'm smart, I'm funny, I have friends that love me, I come from a great family that defends me. I wrote anything imaginable. And every morning that I woke up, I would see these great things about my life and about me. And it was a constant reminder, like, I deserve to be here. I deserve to have these things in my life, and you deserve to be happy one day. And it never switched overnight. But one thing that I even tell younger kids, because I do have my education degree, so I was a teacher, one thing that helped me also, if you're just in the bathroom brushing your teeth in the morning, you're looking at yourself, whether it's with makeup, without makeup. What are 5 things that you love about yourself today? Not yesterday, but today. Why are you grateful for today? So I would be brushing my teeth and I would say, like, I love the color of my eyes, or I love how successful I've become, or I love looking at myself and not anybody else in the mirror. Just little examples like that. And I think that it's so important now because it's so easy to compare yourself to others with social media and all of that stuff. I'm really happy social media wasn't really a big thing when I was younger, but the constant reminder to myself, like, you are loved, you love yourself, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're funny, you're gonna go far. And that's what helped me get over that hurdle and get to where I am today. And I'm proud to say that I'm confident and I love every part of me. And now when I'm asked the question, do you ever wish you were born with 2 legs? I always say no, because I have had great opportunity because I was born with 1 leg that I wouldn't have had otherwise. In fact, I would just be like anybody else with 2 legs. So it's funny, that mind shift that happens. And then, like, you had brought up the sports thing. So one of the opportunities that I've had is competing on a national team. So I'm a member of Team Canada's sitting volleyball team, which is an adaptive sport for those with physical disabilities. And this sport is played in the Paralympics. I'm not a Paralympian yet, but I hope to be one day.
And you will become.
Thank you. So I did play from the ages of 16 to 21, and I competed across Canada, in the United States, in Brazil, and in England. And I was so close to going to London 2012, but in Brazil in 2011, we lost to Brazil in the 5th set. So we didn't qualify to go to the Paralympics. And then I actually decided to leave the team to focus on university. And I have gotten my education degree, a design certificate, and a photography diploma. And then this year, with the pandemic and the Paralympics and Olympics being postponed, I was asked to come try out again. And with me settling into my career and settling into my new home in Montreal, I said, now's the best time to go back if I'm going to go back at all. And I'm so happy I made that decision, because there's other females on the team like me, if not more resilient and more inspiring. And we are training right now from afar, obviously, because of COVID, and sometimes try to get together, but we're training for Tokyo 2020 +1, so 2021, because this group of amazing girls qualified and won gold last February. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
That is so exciting. Wow, I'm so happy for you. That's you're inspiring, and I know that many people out there are just sitting with their heart filled up with love right now, just like I am. You do have some other great news. I would love to give you space for you to share that if you'd like.
Yeah,
and maybe talk a little bit about how it made you feel as you got that offer.
Okay. Yeah, so you know my great news. I'm actually really excited to share it with you more in depth, because it's still new to me. So I'm excited to talk about it. But so like I had said before, that I never used to see girls like me in magazines or on TV. I felt like that really impacted me. And something exciting happened to me in November, and an agency reached out to me in Montreal and said that they want to represent me as an amputee model. And this is something I never planned for. I will admit I'm really active on social media now, trying to showcase through my travel photos or any other photos that I take is showing off my prosthetic leg, because I used to hide it. I'm like, now I have this great platform to advocate for other amputees. And I actually started getting messages from mothers saying, my daughter was born without a leg, and I was so scared for her. But now that I see you living your life to the fullest, I don't fear for her anymore. And that's when I knew I was doing something positive for change within the disabled community. But now, having signed on with this modeling agency, within the first week, sorry, I might get like a little bit teary because I'm still in shock that any of this has happened to me, especially. But I went to a casting call for a clothing company in Canada and the States, and I got selected to be a model that would appear in their activewear line in stores and on their websites across Canada and in 11 states starting in the new year. So I got to model with other models that have experience, and I got to do this. And it's actually a clothing store I used to shop at and still shop at when I was younger. And I would have never imagined seeing a girl with a fake leg up on a billboard or a poster in the store. But now I get to be part of that movement and change for younger girls, to showcase that your insecurities or your imperfections can still be beautiful. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Because, that is exactly, so many of my clients, they also come to me and they're like, how do I figure out what my purpose is? And we might not have this big of a story, or it is still big to us. But there is something in each and every one of you that if you lean into this vulnerability, you lean into your really authentic you, where you had the biggest lessons of life, that is when you find your why. And imagine you sitting back then thinking, why is nobody like me being shown off to the world? And now you are one of the first ones who is being shown everywhere in clothing stores and being a model. That is so beautiful. And I really, really often hear from my clients that that's easy for people to say because they can, but I can't. I think you're such a beautiful example of, if you can, everybody can, because you've gone through so many years of insecurity and you had your reasons. You were very different from other people, but the fact that you found your strength and you used that to inspire people is so beautiful. And I really, really hope that this interview and this conversation can contribute to inspiring other people to really lean in and into their like to shine their light, right? Because we all have something that we should be sharing.
You're gonna make me tear up.
Really, I really, really love it. You're such a good example of it. I would love for you to describe, just from your perspective, what does resilience mean to you?
To me personally, resilience would be overcoming those hard battles that you're facing and internally accepting them and figuring out how to overcome them. And I've had this conversation where some people think resilience means different things, but I think resilience is a form of not letting anything stopping you and believing in yourself. And there's so many different kinds of hardships too. I mean, yes, mine is fully visible and my story is long, but it can be something small. It doesn't take a great mountain peak for you to have to be resilient. Even if you're getting out of bed in the morning, that is that is a form of resilience. You chose to show up today.
Yeah.
So.
While you were talking, this quote came to my mind, that, you know, successful people, they continue, they never stop, while the only way to be unsuccessful or to fail is actually by stopping. Won't you say that that also aligns a little bit with resilience? Like, you can hit difficult days, you can hit minor difficult days, but just the fact that you have your goal in mind, or your vision in mind, or your purpose in mind, and keep on going, doesn't matter what external challenges come to as a stumbling block in front of you, that is resilience, right?
I fully agree.
Awesome. What do you think, like, to strengthen resilience? You talked about affirmations, but is there any other techniques or tips that you'd like to give our listeners to strengthen their resilience?
Yeah, I journal a lot. I find it really helps me. And if you don't like journaling, voice memos work the same. Jotting things down, drawing, whatever it may be. I have friends that meditate as well. But a form of resilience and being able to really show up as who you are and overcome those battles is really taking a step back sometimes to take a look at the bigger picture and be like, okay, this is what I'm insecure with, or this is my big battle I want to overcome. But sometimes when you're so stuck within it and you don't take any air to breathe and really look at the larger picture, you get overwhelmed. So one thing I would say is really taking a moment of pause. And right now, with the fast-paced world and easily having things at our fingertips, sometimes it's really hard to take that step back and really reflect on your life and make yourself a priority. I think that's where it lacks sometimes, is making yourself top priority.
Yeah, it's all about the shoulds, coulds, like you know all these from the external world, instead of really just taking a second and getting silent and check in with yourself, like self-sourced action steps, right? I think many people are scared to get silent and actually to listen to what is beneath all those noises from the external world. I imagine that is something that you've done a lot in your work. So how would that look like? How would a typical check-in with yourself look like? Would you just like sit down and just use affirmations, or did you get any other tips from your therapist or something that you would like to share as well?
Yeah, I practice gratitude a lot, and it's something that we practice on our volleyball team as well. Before any meeting or practice, our coach will ask us, what are you grateful for today? Let's do some gratitude. And it can be the smallest thing, like, I'm grateful I got to sleep in an extra 5 minutes today, or I'm grateful I got to see my mom, or I'm grateful my dog woke me up at this time. It's noticing the little things as well. And I keep a gratitude journal, honestly, and I find it helps me. And it's just a book separate from my journal. And if I'm feeling down one day, because let's admit that to ourselves, we're not perfect every day. We're not happy every day. Sometimes something makes us sad and we don't know why, but having this journal has been great for me because I've had it for over a year now. So when I'm feeling sad, I can go and look through it and see what I've been grateful for in the past and remind myself that I'm still grateful for those things, if not more now.
Yeah, and that is also something I talk a lot with my clients about, that you can't get to your dream, you must come from it. And what we mean with that is that you are the one generating the state that the vision is in. It's the same vibration that you have to generate for you to come there. And that is why gratitude, but also these small success lists that you list of what you have done of great things are so important. So yeah, we use that a lot as well. And
I love that. Your dream comes from you rather than something else.
Exactly.
So true. Yeah, you're given one life. So why not do everything in your power to make it a meaningful one? For yourself, not for anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, Allison, besides your modeling and your sports and all these great things that you're doing, how does the future look like for you? What is your big vision?
Oh my gosh. I would be lying if I said that I don't have a lot of things lined up for the future. Which is crazy because it's things that I never knew possible, as far as more contracts, really networking. A big goal of mine is I would love to do a TED Talk.
Yes, I can see you do that 100%.
Oh, thank you. That's so nice of you. I would love to discuss specifically around learning to love your body and coming from a background of being a victim of bullying. Like I had mentioned, I have my education degree, so I can be a teacher, but I didn't feel teaching to a curriculum was where my passion lied. So right now I'm working as a digital marketer for a great company in Montreal called Kite Parade, and I get to combine my love for both digital marketing and education, because they're all about teaching kids to find their form of play, because I think that's so lost. You're always asking kids, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? But no, what are you passionate about now? What fuels you? What drives you? Why do you wake up in the morning? Like, what do you love? And I would love to then create a program for kids and teaching them more about self-acceptance and self-love and self-discovery. And I hope to one day make that become a vision. Right now, it's more so something that I'm writing and trying to create and see how then I can implement it in the real world. So similar to how you help people with all your clients, I would love to work with kids in that way.
Yeah, awesome, beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing all these gold nuggets. It's really, I'm so thankful and grateful that you're here. One last question that I have to you, Allison, that I ask all my podcast guests is, imagine that anything that you've ever created, your whole social media platform, anything you've ever written, all your journals, anything that you've ever shared with people that you like to have an impact on or motivate or inspire, it was all burned in a fire. It all got destroyed. It's all gone. I then give you a piece of paper and a pen, and I ask you to write down 3 gold nuggets that you would like to pass on to the world the day that you're not here anymore. What would those 3 gold nuggets be?
Ooh. I love this question, by the way, because I've definitely thought about what would happen if all my social media disappeared, and I'd be okay with it, surprisingly enough. 3 things I would say is learn to love yourself first, find what you're passionate about, and share your successes with others.
Oh, I love it. I'm seriously, I can't even count how many times I've had goosebumps through the time that you talked, because, you know, all these things that you're saying is what I'm literally teaching my clients every day. But the fact that it's for you, it comes from experience, and you might have done things unconsciously. You might have had inspiration from, you know, people who've done it as well, but you are proof, like you have done these things. You're a product of the material that coaches teach their clients. And you know, it's just, I just want to underline again that if you have gotten this far, you could do this. Everybody can do this. And that is really my intent of this podcast, to inspire everyone out there. And for you, Allison, I wish you the brightest future, the brightest life. I wish you a beautiful December and Christmas, that you spend it with the people you love the most. And I'm really, really grateful that you were here today. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me and saying such nice things. I love what you do and that you want to inspire others. And I hope my story can help somebody as well. So thank you for wanting to have me on your podcast.
Definitely. Thank you, Allison. Bye.
Bye.